Bienvenidos.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Bueno.
Hello.
Bienvenidos a la podcast day on the back hash. Mi nombre is Zach.
Your number?
Nombre.
That's name. That's name.
That's name?
Numero is number, man. Nombre is name.
Oh. It's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you.
Mis amigos es
Without go
Cedric
beat to step 2.
y Chris y William.
How come Will gets the Spanish flavor? Mine's Chris. Well,
I'm sorry.
Because I got all them L's.
right? Yeah, you gotta roll those.
Oh my goodness.
That's your fault, Sid.
It is. I'll take full responsibility for this. Anyway, welcome to another episode of On the Back Hash.
We're back.
If you are not very well versed in Spanish, my name is Sid, with Zach, and Chris, and William.
I need some maracas, like. As
Hey,
his name.
don't let me find where my egg at.
Oh, see?
Y'all done jacked it up. It's too late.
Listen.
You know I brought everything with me.
Tell me why I shut down one of my percussion classes to have a lesson on how to play shaker.
Good. It deservingly so.
And then tomorrow's lesson will be how to properly play the triangle.
That was earlier on.
Clave.
Clave was Tuesday.
See?
Hey,
like,
Mom, I was in band today, and Miss Lavelle taught me how to play the kielbasa. I think you mean the kielbasa.
No, kill.
Kill.
It's kind of what he did. But
He said kill him.
He said kill. He might have did it too. I didn't see Johnny after lunch. I don't have a Johnny in class, so everybody's safe.
Not anymore.
And he has 2.
Not now.
Touche.
Of course not.
Touche. So, everybody good? Everybody, we gonna make it? We gonna make it to the end of the school year?
3 days, man. 3 days.
We got 2. But
Well, on
are
the
you going
day
to school
of
election
this,
day?
on the day of this release, it will only be
Yeah, on the day of the release, we'll be done.
one.
I got 1 day.
Oh, well, he'll have one.
Yeah.
We'll be done.
One day more.
We play that every on the speakers.
I bet you
Next
do.
live. We sure
Really?
do.
I mean,
You should hijack the speaker and play the SCV version instead.
If I did that, I'd be blowing a hole
Do
in the
it.
walls.
dude.
Local school collapses due to Santa Clara Vanguard company front. You tell all the kids in the school to yell Vanguard at the right time.
They got to bring that back this year.
They better bring everything.
I think they're going to
back.
say it at every moment they possibly can this year. I was going to call it. It's 15 Vanguards.
Is your core ready? Vanguard! From Canton, Ohio.
Wait a minute.
Hold on.
What? Hold up.
You hear it on the recording outside of Lucas Oil where they're telling you to go through security.
Oh
It's
my
just like
God.
overtakes it.
It's going to mix in with their horn sustain that they had in Babylon.
They're going to do all of that in the open.
Yep.
Golly.
Ain't going to be nobody left in the stands like, what? No. You're not about to assault me with all of this today.
We will be assaulted by sound where we're sitting. I can't
No.
wait.
Yeah, I did get tickets in there.
We got to get a hotel room.
Probably going to Verbo.
Ooh.
I'm down.
Probably going to Verbo.
And we got to get
Oh,
Will
what?
plane tickets.
That's
Verbo
right.
or Airbnb, one of the two.
Oh.
Will's got
That's
a rental
hilarious,
property there. We could just rent it out.
I wish. This would not be an issue right now.
Everyone out on this
I'm
week.
just going to my own property. That's what- What's pissing me off even more is I got an ad on one of these screens talking about Seattle to Honolulu for $189. That's like, and it's Alaska Airlines. Like, first of all,
Wait, ain't that the one that
Don't
lost
do
the
this to me.
plug? The plug in the door? Wasn't that Alaska Airlines?
Was it Alaska? I don't know. I
I'm
don't
pretty
fly
sure it
Alaska.
was, yeah.
I am
You got to
team
save money
Southwest.
somewhere.
That's
Put
true.
that plug in the
I mean,
door.
not over the Pacific Ocean. I want to
And,
save money.
you know,
like,
there's some better spots to do that, but you know,
whatever. That's why we have Spirit. That's what happens.
Oh, I don't know about that no more.
I'm not driving. I'm not getting on no Spirit plane, bro. Somebody posted some video talking about they was
The
on
video
the
of
plane,
them
it was
where
hot.
they didn't have any air.
They had
Oh,
no air. It was
no.
hot. They said it's 100-some degrees on that plane, and it had steam coming out of the. I said, "Look, this is y'all's fault. That's what y'all get for flying
you pay
Spirit,
for.
man. Spirit's like it has to be one of the cheapest airlines out.
You guys ever seen
and they don't
Madagascar?
care, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Madagascar 2, when
Yeah.
they fly the plane, the penguins, that's Spirit.
That's Spirit, literally up and down all day. They holding they plane together with duct tape and
I flew Spirit one time, just once.
That's when you were trying to
That's
go
when
to
I
Orlando,
had to
wasn't it?
scramble to get to Orlando because Southwest's everything collapsed.
Yeah, we're all sitting at the restaurant together.
Yeah.
You were like trying to get the.
And I was on hold. Yeah. Like I got on the plane, I was like, this is nice. And then they were like, it's 35 cents per inhale and exhale of oxygen. You're not getting anything free. If you want to use the bathroom, you can't.
like literally.
Water bottles are $75
I believe that.
per
That's
ounce.
Jesus.
Drink your own spit.
Can I just
I was
get a
about to
cup?
say,
Can I get a
can I
cup
get a
of
cap
ice?
full?
Can I get a cup of ice? $4. What?
What?
You just stick your head out and your beer will freeze. There's your ice.
Yeah.
Bro, they was talking about opening the windows on that flight too, on that video. I was like, okay,
Yeah,
so
school
kill
bus.
it's
God.
that hot. It's that hot.
I'm
We
willing
wanna
to
kill-
risk-
like,
I'm willing to
I'm
risk the pressure
everyone's
from
life.
Screw
the
that cabin
atmosphere
pressure. Yeah. God.
to have.
people stripping out their
Anyway.
clothes. I was like, that's too much.
Yeah.
Never will I
This has
ever.
been your travel segment.
We will never.
For
be
all of you
sponsored by
about to
Spirit.
spend your summer on a coach bus, Godspeed.
Hey, that's worse. I ain't gonna forget none of them days. Oh Jesus, the smell.
All right, so it's been your travel advice hour. For,
Just stay at home.
no, probably not getting sponsorship from them.
Nope.
Yeah.
I'll mark that one off.
Not gonna happen.
But do we really want a sponsorship from them? I'm just,
Probably not.
Just
I don't
saying.
think so. Well, not really. We can. I don't know. We'll figure something. So anyway, we will talk about some Patriot arch things now because that's what we're supposed to talk about.
yo, it's DCI season now.
Listen,
Let's
move-ins
go.
are upon us.
Oh,
When are move-ins? Are they this weekend?
Has to be
Some
this
cores started this past weekend.
Yeah.
Most are doing next, I believe, or throughout
remember
this
one
week.
of our previous guests, Nathaniel. We go back in like our first season of doing this show, which is crazy. We're almost in season 3 of this, by the way. Anyway, Nathaniel said he missed his high school graduation for move-ins, so we're right around that time.
Gonna be cool. Well, not really.
Can you believe we've been doing this almost 3 years, guys? Crazy.
Time flies. And we haven't got canceled yet.
No.
Woo! Season 3 renewal.
With even all the stuff that Zach says.
I say it. You're all thinking it.
Exactly. Can't get in trouble for what you think.
It's called an on-deck circle. I always put my back in the dugout. You just go batter up. That's the difference.
It's okay. We love you for it, Zach. Most days. Oh, man. So anyway, so today or tonight or this morning, whenever you're listening or watching, we're looking for a fourth member to join us. Wants to be out. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the evaluation portal that's DCI. I don't know. I feel like it's been around, but maybe just not talked about.
I think this might have to do with the new CEO and transparency.
Could be,
Hmm.
could be. Um, but talk about the evaluation portal for groups that are wanting to begin having a DCI Drum Corps uh, participate in, and this basically is really cool because TLDR, um, it's just giving them a stepping stone and
Hmm.
tools and kind of a checklist of what it takes to be a well run functioning drum corps. Because we think about the competition aspect of it all the time, but at the end of the day, it really is meant to be an educational and entertainment outlet for kids to do activity to do during the summer. So DCI's, with all of the financial strengths and all of that stuff that's going on, they want to help make sure these cores that are starting new get off to a really good start. That way they can have some longevity and activity. So Zach, I'm gonna let you kind of take the lead on this and just kind of talk us through some stuff.
Okay, so this is coming from straight from DCI.org. I'm sure we can put the link to this somewhere in the episode description, or we can share it on social medias. But this is back from May 1st. So it's an open / all age evaluation portal, and so for the season that's beginning to start here soon, 2024, there are 5 either new or re-emerging groups that have applied and been accepted to begin this process to be considered as a future participant for either open class or all age class. So applying and being accepted to join all age, moving up from um, sound sport, I believe, is the Minnesota Brass, Northern Lights, and Steel City Ambassadors. Um, so they're looking to join the all age distinction, and then Zephyrus and Memphis Blues are seeking open class status. So basically, what that means is they're going to start a 3-year evaluation process um, to make sure that they have continuity and have that sustainability. So they've kind of developed and refined it since the shutdown from 2020, and then with the merging of DCA and all age class being formed. So this is what they came up with. So in year 1, you perform in sound sport, and you have the distinction of an all age or open class candidate, and you're evaluated and judged under those DCI sound sport guidelines. Then in year 2, assuming you have a successful completion of your year 1 requirements, you advance to an all age or open class affiliate. Um, you perform under the guidelines of the minimum and maximum of the DCI rulebook, and you're judged essentially as an all age or an open class core. So your show time has to be the minimum or maximum to fit the affiliate class that you're trying to become a part of, the way I understand it. And then in year 3, if you've done years 1 and 2, so it's kind of like a ladder or a stepping stone, you become a full member of all age or open class. Your length of your production matches your class, and the rule book, and your judging occurs within those systems as well. Um, You'll undergo an extensive organizational review led by DCI. You'll have to have IRS status compliance verification. They'll review your roster or your board. They examine your financial and physical health, um, and your rosters of your instructors and performers. Health and wellness standards, you have administrative policies. So they're really attempting to make sure that these cores are crossing all their T's, dotting their I's, making sure that they are stable not only financially, but as like a business and as an operational, organization with their business practice, but also they're checking all the boxes in terms of making sure that they're putting people on their staff that um, are qualified and do not have any prior incidents or whatever may have you, and that the core or the organization is focusing on that safety aspect as well. So from what I can gather, it's this 3-year process is to really, really make sure that these cores that are, because you have to have a lot of money up front to get this thing off the ground. And I think we see it all the time. We have new organizations that put their name out and then they make it one season, if that, and then you never hear of them again because they didn't have the money or the means to sustain past the one season that they were put out. I mean, we see it in WGI as well with percussion and guards. So I think DCI is taking a really good step here to make sure that there is a system for how you can enter and work your way into all age or open class and have that foundation underneath you both financially and as a business and with member safety in mind. That way you can sustain that and not have to fold after a year or two like we've seen.
So really, this is like a 2-year, right?
Well, it's 3 years, and that third year becomes what I would guess would be your first year as that new designation. But if you don't
But you can be
pass the
open by the
first,
second year, right?
You're
Because by
considered
you're considered an affiliate.
affiliate.
so as an affiliate, does that mean you're still competing against open class?
I
But
would
you're
assume
just
so.
not,
I would assume so. Yeah.
because that's
Yeah.
because my thing, what I was looking at is like I cool with all this. I'm cool. On the side of those trying to go through this, like if you're someone coming from Sound Sport or just trying to create your group from scratch or whatever, I don't know.
hmm
Keeping those kids engaged, knowing that you got to go through this process. So it's almost like the quicker you can say, okay, we are open, but we're not yet, right? But we are competing against those open groups.
I
By
wonder if
that
it might
second
be
year.
kind of like when we see like in college football when they move from FCS to FBS, like they have that. It's not. I don't want to say probationary period because it's not like a disciplinary thing, but you have your first year where, like I know, like when they first go D1, they can't play in the tournament for the national championship, which is a whole nother discussion. But wonder if maybe if you're in year 2, or maybe when you're in year 3 and you become um, a full member, then that makes you eligible for finals or championships. And maybe
This looks
when you're an
just like
affiliate, you can't
this looks
win.
just like to me. I watch Twitch a whole lot. I know some of you guys watch Twitch a whole lot with me too. It's the same exact thing, just in year wise. Like Twitch has Twitch affiliates where you're not full member of the thing, but you still get some of the benefits of it, and then you can become a partner if you want to, right? So I think that's kind of the way I'm thinking about it. Like that is that affiliate stage, you're still getting judged as an open class. You just can't.
Because that was just my that was just my whole little thing. It's like, okay, convincing people to be engaged into this idea of this new group. Tell them, okay, we're going to do Sound Sport first, and then we go through that year process. But by that next year, you're not quite open, but you get to at least go against some open class, see how you stand up. You may not get to go to finals and stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? Like, what are you telling the kids to make sure that they keep coming back so you can keep doing this through this year process?
Well, I think if you look at the groups that are candidates, like the open class groups, it looks like they're in year 2 of this already. Like they're not going to Sound Sport on their tour stops, but the 3 all age groups are. So like maybe like the Memphis Blues and Zephyr, is it Zephyrus? Is that how you say that? Maybe next year, like that's they're going to be full-fledged members of open class. Because you look at like the descriptions on the page, Memphis Blues started in 2023, and then Zephyr started in 2022. So I'm guessing maybe this has been going on for a little bit. But looks like those two groups are in like year 2 of this already because it doesn't look like they're going to Sound Sport. So
Well,
they're getting
I
judged
will
as open class.
I will say they some of these events have Sound Sport divisions at their events. So just because it doesn't say Sound Sport, that just means they're going to the Sound Sport International thing at the end. Um, so they may be, it may all be year 1. It's just those events that are going to don't have like they Sound Sport's a division, so like they could be going to those events in the Sound Sport division. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
There are not Sound
that's
Sport
true. That's true.
there are not Sound Sport specific events except for the last one.
The one at the one end,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's it. So they may be. I would assume because if there's no mention of it, um, that these are all of these groups would be considered year 1. Just because there's no mention of it. I know they say reemerging. Maybe the group from 2023, but
I will say Memphis Blues. I'll look at their first contest in Sevierville, and it's like Crown, Crossman, them, Music City, Spartans, and then Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
And that's open. That's open.
Well, they're a candidate for open.
Yeah.
So yeah,
but they get that judging panel, right?
No. Okay.
They get a separate one.
So if the panel, well, I don't know how they're going to do the panels this year because they have all age. So I don't know if they're going to use the same judging and the same judges sheets for all age. If they are, I know the Sound Sport stuff is a little bit different. But if they are a candidate, that means they are in year 1. That means they are in Sound Sport.
Yeah, because none of these groups are listed on the DCI website in even in all age.
I guess if I would
So
just
they're all
read the
candidates.
damn article, I would know
Yeah.
that.
Wow.
So they are all candidates. So they are in Sound Sport, trying to get to full DCI, full status.
Hey, the dues for Memphis Blues is only $1,300, which is pretty. If you want to get your toes to it.
So, and kind of going back to the engagement thing, I think as a marcher, you probably understand, I would hope so, that what you're getting yourself into by going to one of these 5 programs. So,
and that's the thing that I was wondering, because I know you just think of
you got to advertise that.
yeah, and most of your kids, they want to go to their championships and some want to march the best of the best, whatever. But I was just curious. It's like, okay, knowing that you got to go through these stages, and it's yearly. Like, I'm just curious in what these groups are doing to make sure that they keep the engagement for their group and keep getting kids to keep coming back so they can keep going through the year stages.
I will say this. I think I was going to type this earlier, but when you bring that up, I think it's a good place to say this. That a lot of these areas, most of these, majority of them, not all of them, but like majority of these are like in like drum corps dry areas, right? Like
Tulsa.
Memphis, Arkansas, Mississippi area, right? There's not really a drum corps close to them besides Music City, right? Oklahoma is where Zephyrus is, right? Not a whole lot of in that area. Minnesota with Minnesota Brass, which they've been around for a little bit, and Northern Lights, Michigan, right? So like, I think if I was going to say like, listen, you can still stay home, really close to where you are, and still get a tour experience. There, I think that's really cool that a lot of these groups like are in areas where there isn't a lot of drum corps going on.
Yeah, if they get off the ground off the first year, if they make it to that second year, that's just that's a big step in itself. And I think DCI is setting this up to help them
Mm-hmm.
get to
That's
that
why I
stage.
said what I said. That second stage is, in my opinion, is probably the most important one.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, because that
Because it's
first
a,
year you're still judged under sound sport.
yeah.
Second year is when you get into your judging of whatever class system you become an affiliate of, and that's when
and
you're gonna find
you're
out
kind of
real
in the
quick.
you kind of in the
Because
bistro.
if
You
you,
thrown in the fire.
yeah, because if you go
Mm-hmm.
into
Like it's time
affiliate
to.
status and you're starting to hang, if you're hanging in with
Yeah.
the people in that class that have been there for a while, then you know you're in good shape. But if you getting 20 pointed as an affiliate,
I still that's a huge jump though. I still think from sound sport to all age or
Well, it
open.
depends. Because think about it. Every time we've always gone, we've looked at some of these groups, and we're just like, man, if they actually was competing, you know,
mm-hmm,
it musically, we know. I feel like musically, a lot of these groups can hang. It's that design that can be an issue with some groups.
Well, they are
or
now
they
are
have
on some
design
stuff.
teams that can't teach anything else. And they look a hot mess and they sound a hot mess, but they got cool props and uniforms and a cool concept, which
Mm-hmm.
we've had this conversation plenty of times. That don't matter.
Yeah.
I wonder, now this would be interesting, if they did like a relegation, like in the Premier League. Like
Man,
if you're at
did
the
we talk
bottom
about that
of your
before?
if you're at the
I thought we
bottom of
talked
your
about that.
class, you get relegated down.
Well, here's the thing about all of that. Like it's not just a competitive thing that moves you up.
Yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
it's the business model. Like
Hmm.
Pioneer was not a stellar drum corps as far as playing was concerned, but from a business aspect and some other reasons that we've heard about later on,
Yeah, it's like and other
they stayed open class. I mean, I love them to death, but Jersey
world
Surf,
class, world class.
sorry, world class,
Yeah.
Jersey Surf,
Yep.
fun group. Probably never going to make finals, but they're still a world class group. Why? Because they run their business like it's a world class organization. I mean, you got to think they didn't fold,
Yep.
but you had two perennial champions fold, and one of them's not coming back.
Yep.
So it's for I think for this evaluation process, it's not just about getting groups to compete. Somebody's always going to be last. That's
Yeah.
just the problem when you rank things. Somebody's always going to be last. Um, but can you sustain as a positive organization to help DCI grow and to be good? And I think that's what they're really trying to do here.
Hmm.
They're saying the groups will be judged by these standards, and that's fine too. But I really think I like the second quote that was um, after the year 3 stuff. He said, "With a focus on sustainability,
Yep.
we feel strongly that a slow and steady is our best approach to assuring that organizations to establish themselves, grow, and be successful as possible for years to come,
Yeah, I was
regardless
gonna
of
say
class or format that envisions for themselves." So they just want drum corps to thrive and be able to function.
Hmm.
like I almost feel
And
like
that's what I
three
was
years
saying
is
about that.
I almost feel like 3 years is almost too fast. Almost like I feel like that
Well,
affiliate stage.
if you do
I don't.
everything you're supposed to, it's going to take 3 years. But some groups may get through year one and then have to
Yeah,
sit in that year two stage for a
That's
year
what
or
I'm saying.
two.
Like
yeah.
that's what I want to know is like, are they really going to buckle down on that year two stuff? Like, or are they just going to push you into the next class? Because
I
like,
think so.
Why
I don't
not?
because I don't think they want groups folded. So I think they're going to have to hold groups to feet to the fire and be like, hey, your group plays well, but like, look at the books, look at your books. Like, you keep kind of run like this, you're going to be bankrupt in a year. So we're going to keep you down here and let's get this fiscal stuff worked out. I think so. I don't think they mentioned it in this article because they're probably trying to keep a positive spin on it. But I can't see them bump promoting somebody, for lack of a better term, to the next year, to the next status, if they're truly not ready to go there. Like In
'Cause
order
that's
to go
why.
year
That's
two, when they
why.
finish year one, they're probably going to look at your finances like, do you have enough to get next year started? Like, what's your plan for the next 3 years in this organization?
That's why I looked at the idea of membership, like keeping the members engaged and stuff like that. Like that's why I was wondering about that because that second step, like, because I was like, really? I was like,
Well, here's the thing: if anybody's,
will the kids stay engaged for this?
if well, it depends on the kid because, like, if a kid is all about trying to go to world championships, they're not going to go to one of those groups anyway.
That's true. Yeah.
They're not going to want to wait 3 years. The kids that are going to want to go to these groups are just going to want that drum corps experience.
And some of these are all age too. Mine, like so, like it's not all just open class. Like 3 of the groups that are applying for the candidates are open, all age. So, I mean, maybe you're 24 and you're like, I still want to do this. I kind of want to, you know, I don't have anything close to me. Oh, here's Michigan. I want to go there, try to build
Yeah.
this up. It might be just a different perspective for all age than it is for open class. Also,
And like Minnesota brass,
yeah,
they're 3 years they're going to be all age, full blown.
yeah, that's a smart move by them, I think.
Like they've just done it for so many years, decades. Like, so for them, it's just going through the process. And I think with DCI being closer to them, it's cheaper for them. So this would be something that they can go through. I mean, they're going.
They might have fell into this at the perfect time.
I'm sure.
To
I'm sure
help
it works
boost
out
these
for them.
other groups. Well, not just them, but other groups who see that and say, "Oh, hey, they're going through this too,"
Mm-hmm.
knowing who they are, truly.
Well, they dabble
And
in a
then,
lot of stuff.
Hmm?
Like, I believe their organizations is trying to have stuff year round for people to do. Because I mean, I think they had no, I think they still got an indoor line.
no, I'm saying like in general, like I was just using them as an example to give motivation for the other groups. To saying this process isn't as bad as we think it could be, or if anybody's got those thoughts, like okay, Minnesota's going through this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So-
they were in DCA for a while too, and they won it. Like so,
yeah, they've had success with whatever they do.
yeah.
That's why I said I really think they're trying to be an organization to where you got something to do literally year long. Because, like I said, they had an indoor line. I thought they had an indoor wins one year. So I really just think they're just trying to revitalize what Minnesota brass is.
Also, I just want to add, I think it's cool that if you look in the article right before you get to what the cores are, the Edelman says in there that this is the latest set of cores in addition to several more cores planning to apply in fall of 2024. So, I mean, we're going to see probably after the end of Worlds going into that more groups applying for this evaluation process, which is going to be interesting. I think a lot of them, I think me personally, I think more going to be more on the all age side of things maybe than the open class. But I mean, you have all age now for a reason, so I think that's going to be smart. I think we're going to see a lot more of those fill out.
But they've always had all age. It's always been there. But now you have more
I do
because DCA has gotten absolved.
Yeah,
so it's always been there.
Yeah, but I think that just it being Drum Corps International, you know what I mean? Like if you're in sound sport and you want to do all age, you had to jump over to DCA and go through all that stuff. I don't know what that process was or if there was much of a difference with that, but I think this just makes it a little bit easier to make that jump than it might have another way.
Does sound sport have an age limit on it?
No.
Sound sport?
Yeah.
There's like old dudes,
so.
old hats out there.
So probably depends on what group you want.
Well, I mean, it also gives some of those sound sport groups that are kind of growing and getting bigger a chance to gives them a pathway that they know that they can where they know what they have to achieve in order to if they wanted to become open eventually.
If they want to, and that's the thing, because I mean, there's 5 groups enlisted right now, but there's 55 signed up,
Hmm
55 sound sport groups registered for the year. Um,
Hmm
so like, some groups may not want to go full blast, like they just want to do the sound sport stuff. But for those groups that aspire to be a full-fledged drum corps,
hmm
here's your process, and here's the program that you're going to go through to make that happen. And it's good because I don't think you should, with the amount of responsibility
hmm
um, that comes along with being a drum corps. I don't think you should just come out and be like, "Hey, we're a drum corps."
hmm
Like, it's, and it is hell. It's
Hey,
probably
what you
tough
think?
enough. It's probably tough enough trying to be a sound sport group. I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of those sound sport groups are just high school bands that just put something together over the summer. Or they just learned their fall show super quick. And, hey, well, let's just go up to Indy and do this in front of a bunch of people and see what they say. Um, and I honestly feel like it should be the same with indoor. I feel like with the in season um, promotion thing that you can do in WGI. Like, all right, you're starting out, you're coming in A class. If we feel like you're not in the right classification, we can get you out. You know, because it happens there too. They'll come out and try to come out hot, and then we don't see them the next year. We're like, what happened? We didn't have enough money. I mean, there's been several Kentucky indoor groups that don't get past one season
Hmm
Yep.
just because they try to do too much, or they may come out hot, have some good success, and then the next year think that same thing's going to work, and you got different kids, and then groups get better, and then it's so I like this
Me
a
too.
lot.
I
I,
mean,
I really
especially
like
with
this.
what we've seen over the last few years, like it's good to see them kind of getting their hands dirty and trying to make sure that these groups are nurtured. You know what I mean? Like just smart.
So, um, and the touring, I mean, it's very reduced touring, so that's probably one reason why they can keep those fees down. So Memphis is 1,300, you know, and they're going to kind of stay kind of local.
hmm
And same thing with Zephyrus.
I
And
say Zephyrus got a little pretty decent schedule.
yeah, um, and it looks like they're going to go to the San Antonio. So like the way they built their schedule is
Yeah.
like they get to end on a big show.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I
Um,
mean, and going to Broken Arrow and Denton, those are two
Yeah.
mhm.
big shows too, so to speak.
Yeah.
And all their tour is in the same 2 week span.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Same with Memphis. All theirs are within a week or a week and a half. That's not a
It's pretty
bad
smart.
tour.
yeah. So you give kids or adults and all age groups. You get them the experience that they need. They're going to get to see some. They're going to get to see what they're going to be eventually. Because I would tell. I mean, I think I'd have to check, but I feel like there's more all age corps signed up for DCI this season than there were for DCA last season. I'd have to
I mean, we
look.
were talking about those shows announcements before the show, and there's a lot of them.
There's 11.
Yeah, so far.
Um, if it's not, it's close, and that's just the show announcement things because I don't know if they were doing that last year with all age for DCA, but so now that they have an outlet.
I think just that merger with DCI just gave it a steadiness,
Boost.
maybe, I guess, and like a dedicated touring schedule that fits a little bit more because now you can use different venues and things like that. And if I remember right, they're going to be paired up a lot with open class shows, right?
I think that's the plan.
Yeah.
They'll have tours, but they're going to be like they're typically, or there'll probably be open class focus shows. So you'll probably
And they're
be
so weak, and they're so weekend shows, right? I
Yeah.
think they're not doing any weekdays.
I think so.
Mhm.
I hadn't looked at anybody's schedule. I mean, it looks like Minnesota's got a 2 shows in 3 days type of deal going. So it may not always be weekends. I don't know though. It may be. I'm not looking at a calendar. But it should. I'm interested to see one. Out of those 5, how many move on to year 2 and get called affiliate. That way we can see what that looks like. And then, I mean, if you think about it, if this works and it looks successful, you could have 2 or 3 cores trickling in every year going through the portal, and that means in the next 3 or 4 years you can have, 5 or 10 new cores.
Crazy.
And if open class gets big enough, some of those groups that typically stay at the top. I mean, Music City started open class, and now they're a world class group. So,
I mean, at one point in time, Crown was open class.
yep. So it's like I said, it's good to see that they're doing it. I'm glad they told us that they were doing it, and explained it to us. Especially next year when you see a group, even this year, at Southport, they were like, well, welcome Memphis, Southport candidate, open class candidate. People were like, what? What's candidate?
That's what I was wondering. I was like, are they going to
Mhm.
announce them like that? Because that'd be
Yes, that's what the article says. Well, it says you'll have the distinction of an all-age candidate or open class candidate. And then second year you move to an affiliate. So that would be kind of cool when
Because
they
that
get
help.
introduced
Yeah.
as
Because that would help me. I do a lot of thinking on like, okay, if I'm a member and I hear that, it's like, man, yeah, we coming up. You know what I'm saying? Kind of
I could also
emotion.
it happening like when they're finished and they're like, the director of, da da da, and they've been competing in Southport for blah blah blah, and this is their first year as a all age candidate, whatever. You know how they
Yeah.
kind of give little tidbits about the core as they're getting off the field or even coming onto the field. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It definitely gives you a first off, it gives you a timeline to shoot for. Okay, in 3 years we can go from this to open class if we want to achieve that. It gives you a direction, it gives you basically your checklist of everything you need to do. And I mean, instead of you just having to fend for yourself and hope that you can.
Yeah.
And then it sounds to me
Because
like DCI officials are going to be right there with you to help make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to do and are going to make it.
I think, it's great. At least in my opinion, I would, I would say one of the most improved groups that just came out of nowhere, like in open class. You got the Colombians
Mm-hmm.
that are down here, and even down here, I mean that's tough, man. They threw themselves in the fire. Like I feel like if they had this, maybe they would feel better because you got to think about it now. Look, you got all these groups coming back out,
Yep.
so and they're far east Washington. So everybody from Portland, Oregon to Seattle, Cascades up, man, kids are doing this. So, but that area has a lot of really good. I've done some research. I know I've been in contact with Sid about some stuff, but I've noticed that there's a lot of really good bands in that area of the state,
Mm-hmm.
and so good for them for sticking it out. But I really, like I said, I was just curious on the members side, but I do like this whole idea. Whoever came up with it is, you're the bomb, pretty much. It's
Well,
kind of genius.
if talking about member engagement and stuff like that, for me, I think it would be cool to know, and I might say I'm 18 and I start with Memphis Blues, and in my 3 years we get to full membership status. Might not get to go to World Championships, but we get there. For me, it would probably be enough just to say, hey, I helped get this group
Yeah.
to this
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. That's why and that's why we talk before I left Kentucky. How because we used to tell band directors all the time, man, y'all do indoor brass or indoor winds. When it started, because it's like, bro, you could be the beginning of this, and then y'all could help lay foundation for what indoor winds would be.
Mhm.
It's like jump in, get into that. That makes me think of stuff like that. Like sometimes you don't want to wait. So when stuff like this comes out, man,
Yeah.
There were no rules then. Like nobody.
yeah,
There's
tag
no
It was
on,
wide
man.
open. It was Dixie Chicks, wide open spaces.
Mm-hmm. Um,
I mean, you
so
brought that up, Seth. I go back to not this past season, but when you all won at WGI, like I sat here knowing that I wasn't in the very, very first group, but the second year I was in that group and I was just as proud as if I was actually there with y'all than if I would, you know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
you to say I was a part of this, not only as a performer, but as a staff member as well, to see what it started at with a bunch of middle schoolers to moving from a moving line to a concert line, but still being a world champion. Like to say that you had some small part of that,
Yeah.
it means a lot.
No. And so I don't, because we know kids drive it, and if you don't have the kids, you can't do the program. But
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
if you give them a good experience,
That's the thing.
Because
That's
then
the
they're gonna
big one.
talk.
yeah, they'll talk.
That's the big
They'll
one, man.
talk. Hey,
Write it,
come on
write
up
it for
here.
write the show. Everything you do it. Make sure it's for them, especially, and not for some award. Because when I write, that's how I feel. Because I tell people all the time, like when I'm writing a show, if I'm writing a trumpet part, I want to feel like I'm the kid playing the trumpet part. Am I gonna have
Mhm.
fun playing that part? Because look, you get a lot of people who write stuff and they just put notes on page.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go back and look at it. I was like, this is what you wrote for the clarinets? I was like, I'd be pissed as hell if I had to play this.
Listen,
Mhm.
I love Robert W. Smith to death, but if I was a clarinet player and you handed me the Tempest,
Bro, listen,
we about to fight.
I say it all the time. So I do
Somebody
that.
they play that same note over 100 times on
I
repeat.
say it all the time, man. I was like, listen, I get certain phrasings and I understand, Matt, blah, blah, blah. But at some point, you got to sit back and be like, dang, would you want to play this?
Yeah.
Because that's how I do all my parts. So that's all they got to do, man. It's just you give these kids a cool experience, man. These 3 years gonna be a blink of an eye.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I like where it's headed. I'd be interested to see like how, I wish I could see the checklist. Like, what does your finances need to look like? you know, or what healthy fiscal looks
Yeah.
like, more
Mm-hmm.
detailed type of stuff like that. I'm not an accountant or anything, but like, uh,
You like
just to see,
numbers.
yeah, I do like numbers, and I like to see what they think it takes to be financially responsible and fiscally healthy, and to make all that stuff work. Because from a performance standpoint, we know, like, we can look and be like, all right, there's some good teaching going on, or you may need to get some of that staff and the broken arrow in your group difference. um, so like I'd be, you know, I don't know if they could share that or want to share that or not, but it'd be really interesting to see what the checklist looks like to move on from year to year. And this side effect of this, groups that are struggling financially, we're making it work, but this could also be a blueprint for them to be like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
they just started and they got this going. Maybe we need to take a step back and look at this and make sure we're doing things in the right
Mm-hmm.
way to make sure we function too. You know, I I almost feel like at some point one or two things are going to have to happen. They're going to have to add another class in between opening the world. That way, the folks that got the money, they can spend that money and be world class and really do business, like those groups that work on multi-million-dollar budgets. And then opposed to another level of groups that they have all the talent in the world, but they just don't have the resources to put on that high quality of a production.
They have to bring back Div 1 and 2.
Yeah, I was about to
And
say,
three, yeah,
we get divisions.
1, 2, and 3 again. I mean, they won't call it that. I don't want to call it A. I don't want to,
I didn't want to call it A
Relegation.
either. That's why I didn't say A.
well, something. Maybe they'll take a page out of the intermissions book and call it the average class. I don't know. But
They're
the
sitting
people
on a
that
gold mine right now.
But the people that want to spend that money, spend it. But like the groups that think about, what if Madison didn't feel like they had to keep up with the Joneses?
Who?
Madison, or Blue Stars, or Crossman, and they could just go out there and just play, like do
You
bare.
see a shift.
If
I
you want,
guarantee you would see a shift. Because a lot of groups, I guarantee a lot of groups would jump on this.
and I'm
Like,
sorry, it's gonna be hard to break into that top 5. It
Mm-hmm.
is.
Hell, it's hard to break into the top 8 nowadays. Like,
Yeah.
it's tough, man.
Look who dropped out of it.
mhm.
Yeah.
Knights.
So, Zach, you was finna say something.
I was just thinking, like, and then you talk about those groups that can just focus on coming out and playing or whatever. Like, then you've got money opened up that you would be having to spend on uniforms and costumes and props every year, and you can still do some of that stuff, but scale it back and maybe go back to where they kept the same uniform but changed different aspects to match their theme. You know, like how they would change their sleeves out or their pants or whatever,
Yeah. It
versus
would
a
be
whole new costume every single season. That's money that could be saved for other resources too.
you would depend more on, and this may be out of pocket here, but you would depend more on your musical selection and your visual design
Get out.
from a marching
Get out.
drill design from that standpoint to
What?
convey your concept
You
instead
can't
of.
say
And
those things.
I know,
Get
and
out.
I like those things. I really do. I love what the
You
Bluecoats did. I
mean
went
we
back.
don't have to do a Grand Plie?
No, well, that's cheap. You don't have to pay for that, but
Yeah, that's I was like, that's choreo. Hey.
but if you can't afford a $10,000 sound system, don't.
Use the one from last
don't feel
year.
don't feel like you have to. I
Yeah.
feel like some of these groups feel like they have to be comparable. I don't even want to say competitive, but comparable.
To be
And
considered in the conversation.
yeah, it's just like, just it's okay to ball on a budget. Spend that money on staff, on high quality teaching,
Mm.
or air conditioned buses, and you can spend that money on the quality of life experiences, you know, you got to figure out what's
The
the
Corps will
priority.
supply you all with your own air mattress.
Because here's the thing: if Blue Devils just keeps winning, they're just gonna keep winning. Like I'm not finna spend $50,000 to try to $50,000 to try to beat them. I'm just, you know what? Let's take that 50 and let's buy Bucky's for a week or something. I don't know, but
Let's shoot our core through August. How
Their
about that?
spring
Let's
training
set it up.
site is at the local Bucky's parking lot.
yeah, I don't know. Hey, we're gonna stop at Holiday World this time around. Rent out the park for work. I just
Hey,
do something to make the kids have more fun or something like that. You know, it's just, you know, because if it's an arms race, there's only 2 or 3 groups that can hang.
Mm-hmm.
When you're going against California money, it's a
Listen, there's
different
money
beast, man.
and there's California money.
Yeah.
We ain't got
There's
either
even
one of
Texas.
those.
And there's
They
Texas money.
got California money that can pay California staff.
Yeah.
So like you're really
We ain't got Texas money either.
Yeah.
No.
And and then that thing about it is Texas.
CrossFit doesn't look what happened.
I say,
I said it. I'll be Zach today. I'll do it.
But do they?
So I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It's just
a lot of these groups' issues is just
Got a champagne taste, but a beer income.
concept. Man, it's just concepts. It's just concepts. You're either trying to do something too extravagant or something that you can't visually portray, or you don't know how to visually portray, or you don't have the budget to visually portray it. Because hell, BD's still the top group with the least on the field, smacking everybody.
It's called teaching, man.
We say the same mess in indoor. Broken City got to the least on the floor, and they just make everybody work for their money.
if they play 5 more notes in their show,
It's a done deal for
It's
them
fine.
too. It's like God no. So these groups gotta. I don't know.
it's a lot of
Somebody better Michigan State BD and be up in some bushes somewhere.
if there ever was a reason to have a Patreon, it would have been, I hate Will. It would have been, for my audio listeners only, you're watching on YouTube. See, not the light. See, this is I forgot what I was gonna say. Patreon. The reason, if there was ever an episode to have a Patreon, it would have been our last perk talk when we were talking to Matt and Dean, because we talked for another hour and a half.
Yeah.
After that podcast, and we said some stuff.
Oh boy.
About some groups.
Man.
That people might be upset about, but man, if you really thought about it, it was all true.
Listen. What the memes say, no lies were told.
No, not a one.
I'm telling you.
Not a one. There's a reason why you're seeing some things happen with some groups that are up the top that are trying to make some moves. We'll see if they work out for them.
Yeah.
But yeah. So good on DCI for this. This I like it. I like what this does, and I'm hoping it works. So, you know, I don't know how much the CEO had a hand in this, but like it's those type of things you like to see. Those progressive changes.
Yep.
And it's about making groups better, making groups available to do this. So let us know in the comments down below what do you think about the evaluation portal and how you think it's going to work. Do you think it'll help grow Drum Corps eventually and build the product and as far as educational and financially responsible as well as competitive standpoint? Because it seems like that's what they want. They want groups to be able to do all the things that they want to do, but do it right and do it in a healthy way. That way they can sustain it. And we have these Drum Corps around forever. So let us know down in the comments below what you think about all that stuff. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So lots of places to watch and or listen to us. So, fellas, you have anything else?
Nope.
All right.
It's the end
I
of
think we're going to
school.
start. Yes, at the end of school. Congratulations to all the graduates, whether you're in high school or college or in 8th grade, or if we have a preschooler that listens to us. Congratulations on your
This is when high school and college bands do not like when you have to play Pop and Circumstance 800 times in a row. Jeez. I don't know what's worse. Pop and Circumstance, or when you have to play the homecoming song on
Pop and
repeat.
Circumstance.
I know when I was playing trombone, I'm just here playing chord notes. Like this is driving me crazy.
Because it's in the school. That's why, and that's the song. Homecoming, you can change the song.
That's true.
And technically, most of the time, graduations are when school's already over, so you're there for no reason.
Yeah, that's the problem with that.
That's true.
You're still working.
Pray for all the band groups having to play Pop and Circumstance.
Yeah.
Godspeed.
Yeah.
Play it fast. Let them make them run.
Oh.
Put a beat.
Be like Nick Cannon over here.
Yep. So yeah. I don't know. Will we get DCMA for that? We don't have this thing.
No, not Pop and Circumstance. No.
Is that public domain?
It's public domain, surely.
Should be public, hopefully.
What would you do? Oh, sorry. What would you do if you were at a commencement ceremony and you hear just a Dr. Beat click in the group for Palm and Circumstance at like 180?
First of all, I'd be hollering.
First of all, it wouldn't mean anything because they wouldn't know what to do with it.
But people like us,
kids would be running over folks.
That's what I'm saying. Like people in the crowd who were in marching band would hear that click in and they would automatically lock in at set, ready to go.
PTSD, boy. It's real.
That's my favorite thing when you're like
got their Diet Coke at attention.
You clap 4 times on accident. They're like,
It's like, good, you're trained. I didn't want that. I was just messing with you. It's me.
Just go out in public and yell 5, 6 and see who responds.
Go in the middle of the mall. Bam!
Like 37 different yells.
Who just... Is it hot? Is this starting to get hot? Oh my God. This is why you can't take us nowhere. All right, from me and all the rest of the fellas, this has been another episode on the Back Ash. Everybody take care. Enjoy. Happy graduation. Congratulations. Go be somebody. We are
Out.
Dang it, Nuggets.